right now we're going to be discussing what is topical, what is trending, and what is happening in Enugu State right now. And that involves the Enugu State's Geographic information system. So many questions have arisen. How does this work? Would this be enough to solve the land disputes in the state? How exactly can people access the information on this platform? Joining us now is Barrister Chimaobi Okorie, the Commissioner for Lands and Urban Development in Enugu State, and of course, his first time on Afia TV. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you a lot,
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
And big congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you a lot.
Compliments of the season. I mean, congrats on your appointments. And we hope to, get more information on land administration and management in the state. Now we finally have a commissioner in the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right. So, people are asking a lot of questions. ENGIS has come with huge expectations. And, with what the government has promised, that is going to end the menace of double allocations, of racketeering, basically, in the land administration process, expectations are quite high. How would ENGIS actually tackle these issues realistically? How is it going to solve the problem of land use and ownership in Enugu State?
Thank you again. Good morning, viewers. So nice to be here. I would quickly start by saying that the concept of the ENGIS is not an accident. It's important that we link it back to the statement of purpose, the manifesto document, if you like, of His Excellency, Dr. Peter Barr, the governor, at the time, the candidate. And you will see that he was emphatic when he said that he would deploy the GIS tool for land use, land administration and management in Enugu. So it's an agenda, he put in place based on deep thoughts and research. It's found out that the land administration system needed to be optimized. It's found out that coming from the agenda of making Enugu the destination of choice for investors, for living, for visitors, you definitely needed to create comfort. You needed to de-risk a lot of the investments. So we didn't think that there was need to, to continue having, some litterings of issues of land grabbing, issues of double allocations and stuff like that. So His Excellency was very intentional about that. And it shouldn't be a surprise to Enugu, therefore, that in barely 18 months, he has delivered on this, just like he has done on many other agenda items. Yeah, so it's a tool that is user-friendly. It's a tool that will encourage the entire land process online. So what you find out is that at the comfort of your bedroom, at the comfort of your office, at a click of button, you are doing practically all the engagements you need to do with respect to land. You're running a search on land. You're able to do your recertification on your title. You're able to start a fresh process, an application for land. Go it through the point of approval and issuance of the certificate by His Excellency.
Now, that is where we are right now. People are wondering how this is actually going to work. The how question. We understand that it looks, as glorifying as other technological advancements we see in the current society, but they want to know how would they actually be in their bedrooms and be able to go ahead and get their C of Os and the rest in 48 hours. How does ENGIS actually work? What software does ENGIS use? How trained are the personnel that would be handling this software? These are the questions residents have.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's first of all, it's wildly repeating what's been, a winner in other places, as a matter of fact. So on the how, we can say it's been done elsewhere. Abuja land administration process is a success because of, they call it as AGIS. We call ours ENGIS, ENGIS. That's the acronym we run with here. And so recall that it's a product of research. We found out that there were redundancies in our land process. And we thought that there was need to optimize. Again, His Excellency has mentioned the fact that land is actually an asset. It's a sleeping asset, or it has been a sleeping asset. So his agenda is to unlock this asset for people, for Enugu. So even beyond just the process is the fact that people have had mansions, buildings, probably in the hinterlands, in the village, which didn't have any commercial value. So part of what His Excellency has clearly directed us on is to create a uniform, title administration system such that you can come in, register your land, your house in the village, and have a proper title document for that. With that, you discover that an asset has just been unlocked. You can walk into the bank with that and, get a facility. You can negotiate a mortgage with it. You can do business with it.
Are we saying that ENGIS is going to rely on people coming forth to actually register their land? What is the strategy for data gathering of this land and actually making use of that data? Because we understand that data is a national concern. What is the strategy for getting the data on all of the land in Enugu? What master plan is ENGIS based on?
The data is actually already there in the software. So what it is that ENGIS is already a platform that shows you the entire land resource in Enugu. So at that click of button, you're viewing every square meter in Enugu, real time. You're able to tell where is available. You're able to tell where is built up. You're able to tell where is hilly, where is swampy. And so it's data that is already available.
How was that data gathered?
Well, it's technology again, like you said. We have deployed the geospatial technology, so we have been able to, let's go back, recall that Enugu is an old town. Enugu is over 100 years as a city. So it has been the headquarters of the southern Nigeria, the good old eastern region, and then down to Anambra State and down to what it has become today. So the land resource is a lot. The records are a lot. And we have mocked up this data. We have had to do a lot of digitization and digitalization. So all of that has now been uploaded and they're available online.
There are a couple of questions I want to ask. So the first one is, because I would like to think that some stakeholders when it comes to lands are, the agents, the real estate agents, the people who, sell lands to people, the property developers and all of that. So how informed are they about this? Because sometimes what we see about lands is, I'm already starting to think as a citizen and thinking worst case scenario where somebody will tell you, forget that, this thing is not updated, it's not up to date. Do you understand? So cases like that. So what was the interaction with these stakeholders like, before this ENGIS was created?
It's an ongoing engagement.
Okay.
We have our stakeholders in the entire land ecosystem. The agents, like you mentioned, the surveyors, the town planners, the developers, the lawyers, the geography experts. And so you find out that we are engaging on an ongoing basis. We have the clear instructions of His Excellency, the Governor, Dr. Barr, to engage with each of these, our stakeholders, to get them to understand the process, to get them to understand the expectations, and to reassure them that it's a win-win for everybody.
All right. Now we're looking at communities who obviously have what they call ancestral land, land that they've amassed over time, and of course, that they hope to continue to give their generations to come. How does ENGIS take communal land, ancestral land, into consideration? Because one of the major issues we have with land administration in Enugu State is the fact that government often acquires land, and sometimes communities feel that they are not carried along. You just hear that some people came about and decided to hand over the land to the government, and people who are also stakeholders not feel carried along. So there's a lot of politics involved in land management. How would ENGIS reconcile the issues of communities and government when it comes to land acquisition? How well were communities carried along in the data gathering process that actually resulted in the ENGIS that we have today?
Thank you very much. Now, it's important to also break it down to the basics. Recall that His Excellency, the Governor, runs a very engaging kind of administration. So what he's doing is to help ensure that individuals, companies, families, households unlock these assets. Not that we are taking the assets. We're helping them to unlock it. What we're looking at is actually a collective win for everybody. So what we're saying is your land can be put to a better use by you, not by anybody else. So it's not a case of taking. It's a case of opening eyes to appreciate the value of land.
Does ENGIS identify communal land? Because we do have land that is ancestral, like I said, owned by communities, and land owned by private individuals or families, so to speak. How does ENGIS identify communal land, land owned by families and land owned by private individuals? What is the architecture around it?
Yeah, so that's where we are now talking of regularizing titles. So people, families, individuals are encouraged to come up to regularize titles. Recall that what usually happens where your title is communal or family, your root of title becomes largely oral tradition. My grandfather said, it's our land. And where you have conflicts could be that your own grandfather told you the same thing. And both grandparents are late now. But with the ENGIS, people are encouraged to come up and register and acquire valid title for that land, irrespective of where it is.
How are they encouraged to come forward? What is the mechanism to make them come forward? Is this the only means of gathering that information? Do they have to come forward? How are they encouraged to?
Like I said, the platform makes it a lot easier.
How?
So come forward now doesn't have to be physical. It means that even as you sit here, you could click and regularize.
What would make me want to do that?
That's the awareness we're creating. We are trying to let you know that it will unlock your asset. Your land is really like a sleeping asset.
When you say unlock your assets, how do you mean?
When we say unlock your asset, we say there's value in that land beyond just the emotions you attach to land. There is real-time value. We say that if you have valid title over that land, it's something you can do a lot of business with. It's something you can mortgage. It's something you can place for a loan.
Can you provide more clarity around it? I've asked a series of questions. First off, you said to encourage people to come forth.
Yeah.
How? You talked about awareness, right?
Yes.
So how would that awareness, how would they be encouraged to? What would make them want to do it? What is this value that they are going to unlock simply by coming forward? I want us to understand this system holistically. Can you do that for us?
Yes, thank you very much. Now, the point is, one is that it's recognized that land is fixed, relatively fixed. So the area we call Enugu is not going to expand anytime soon, right? So the portion you have, your 2,000 square meters, your 1,500 square meters will not expand suddenly. And so the vision of His Excellency, when he says to make Enugu the destination of choice for investments, is that we all tie up all this. So you will appreciate that what you have in your hand, technically, that your 1,500 square meters is also an investable asset. It's not just land that you go and look at every once in a while and smile. Yes, my father gave me this. It is an asset that you can just with proper title. So that's the point. Because no bank is going to just take it by your word that my father said that's our land. So can you? So when we help unlock these assets, it's by affecting the title. The recertification process, for instance, or proper registration where it hasn't even been registered before. So that's where. And then the engagements are really starting with, like I said, our key stakeholders. We're going to have town hall meetings. And His Excellency has given clear directions and clear support on that. We have reached out to the various professional associations, the various town union executives, traditional rulers, people of influence.
All right. Now, Enugu State and the issue of the master plan. We understand that with the master plan, we know where developmental, infrastructure should be, where this area, what area is delineated for what particular infrastructure or business, so to speak. We know which is residential, which is commercial, and the rest. So on what master plan is ENGIS actually based? Because that is very important in ensuring that the master plan is actually current, the contemporary plan that can take into consideration the contemporary, outlay of Enugu State?
Yeah, it's safe to say that it hasn't always been so much about plan as about fidelity to the plan. So
when last was the plan updated?
We're actually working on an update right now, and hopefully we should be done with it by, in a few months. So we're going to have a master plan that clearly tells you where is what, where are the residential areas, where are the industrial areas, where is delineated for agriculture, and that is part of the whole agenda to make it investment friendly. Because what it means that an investor, you can tell that that piece of land you're interested in, if you want to come in for agriculture, is on the plan, delineated for agriculture purposes. And with that, you're good to go. Nobody's going to come tomorrow and say you're abusing the approved use for the location.
All right. Now, this GIS, how would it tackle the existing land racketeering, the existing land disputes in the state? What's its role in all of that? Because if we're asking people to come forward and there are two people fighting for a certain plot of land, and one person comes forward, for instance, and that person has a conflicting interest because another person involved is still saying that they own that land. So how does ENGIS now determine who is the authentic landowner? Because anybody that comes forth and has a title document that is conflicting with another would take ownership of that land. How would ENGIS function, in view of all these disputes?
Thank you again. Recall that the ENGIS is a creation of law. So His Excellency had to propose a bill, the Enugu Geographic Information Systems Law, which has been signed into law. And recall that there are other complementing legislations. We have the Property Protection Law, which essentially, we know on the common parlance as the anti-land grabbing law in Enugu. So the whole idea of these all is to tie up into one thing: safety, confidence building, and de-risking investments. What it means today is that if you go online to run your search on a piece of land, it will be clear if it is in use. If it is encumbered, it will be clear. So the challenge of the past, where you could have two people hold basically the same title document to the same land, is all done. It's now history. Yeah.
We still have to deep dive into that further, Bill. I know it's something that we need to probably take on a subsequent show, because there are a lot of issues that, people have expectations that ENGIS will be able to tackle. Now, a system such as this that has to do with technology is very reliant on the data that is fed into that system. Now, we understand that maintenance is a serious problem in Nigeria. It's very easy to start, but maintaining it over time, especially after this administration, could be a challenge. So how is this government taking into consideration sustainability of this system? If data in that system is not updated frequently, you could have lapses, and eventually you have even more land racketeering. So what is the plan for that?
Thank you again. As a fact, you took that word from me, from my mouth, like they will say. Sustainability is key in what we do. His Excellency, the governor, has given a mandate that will benchmark with the, Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. That is essentially, the blueprint on which, the agenda is being run by His Excellency. So you find out that was why he first proposed a law. So it is not just a program that could come and go with a government. It's a legally backed institution that has become entrenched in Enugu. And it wouldn't matter who, comes in or who goes tomorrow. And then, like I said, there are also these other pieces of legislations that are intertwined and that support. And of course, you have the overarching Land Use Act, which clearly provides direction on use and management of land resources, places at the doorstep of the governor, who holds in trust for Enugu.
All right. I think because of time, we'll have to call it a day. But this conversation is definitely going to continue. There's still lots of issues that need to be understood in the area of ENGIS, but I think we've already exhausted all that we can on the show today. But definitely, as the matters continue, as we see, more activity around ENGIS, would also reconvene to address all of those with you. So when are we going to expect that people start to actually register, like you pointed out? When is this ENGIS going to become fully operational? Now it's been commissioned. When are we going to see activity around it?
It's live.
It's live.
It's live. ENGIS, .en.gov.ng. You can go on live.
Go online and
so
test it. Right?
It's and that's the point. His Excellency does not start a thing and then go to bed. So before he commissioned, he was sure on the commissioning date there were real-time tests. People ran searches on properties that day. People tried to do recertification processes, and they confirmed that it could work.
All right.
So it's perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning, Barrister Chimaobi Okorie, Commissioner for Lands and Urban Development in Enugu State. We'll still continue this conversation, definitely. Let's see how ENGIS works, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.